back and watch.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sporadic Gaming Podcast, Episode 2. I am not the host, even though I did introduce it.
I mean, you can be the host if you want to. Like, are we? We haven't really
I
had
mean,
that
we
conversation.
haven't really talked about it.
Yeah, like whoever opens, we'll just let them host. Why am I even here?
We don't put labels on it. This is a non-committal relationship.
Wow.
No.
Okay, I see how it is.
Yeah. So let's do some basic introductions, just in case you guys don't know. My name is Devin. I also go by No Youth. And that is...
That's it. Yeah, that's yeah. He's my brother, in case you guys couldn't tell by the, those who are watching in video form, those who can see us. That makes a lot more sense. If you're just listening in, then what are you doing? Go watch. But if you're not, you can use your eyes, and he's basically my clone. So
yeah, we're very similar.
Yeah, and I'm Fizz D, Fizz-sama, whatever. You can call me whatever you want, but I play games, a lot of games, and then I talk about games, and then now I do this too. So that's just marrying the two ideas together, really.
Yeah, playing games, talking about games. So yeah, no, just to pose you with a thought. Last week you said you were playing Oblivion, but since last week you've played a little bit more than just Oblivion. What are you playing right now?
Well, you see, I was playing Oblivion, and then something happened. Something changed. I may or may not have started Clair Obscure Expedition 33, and that has definitely taken quite a bit of my focus, my energy, my time, my soul. I have a lot of thoughts about this game, thoughts that we will not share today. I will give that a bit more time. We will probably dedicate a segment to it once I beat the dang game.
Probably an episode. Let's be real.
Because
it's probably going to be like 2 hours.
I have so many thoughts. I have completed Act 1. I am a changed man. I'm not the same person I was a week ago. And God, I love that game. So that's what I've mostly been playing. I have also been playing, and Devin can attest to this, I've also been playing Horizon Modern Warfare, because the mod developers of Horizon Modern Warfare, which was started as like a Modern Warfare 2, like 2009 old school Call of Duty, it was started as a remaster for that game with all the COD 4 elements and stuff. And they just recently came out with a patch for it. They added Modern Warfare 3 guns and maps and kill streaks and stuff, and they're kind of merging it to making this no longer like a Modern Warfare 2 remaster. Now it's like a Modern Warfare trilogy remaster, and that of course brought a lot of the population back, fixed a lot of the issues, and it's been popping off, and I've been having a great time with that. I'm gonna save the next little segment to you so we can talk about that in more detail, but we've been playing some other games together. I'm gonna let you go ahead and take that part.
So we've been playing a little bit of games together, and let me just talk about what I've been playing recently for just myself.
What have you been playing, but just yourself?
So I have been, same as last week, I've been playing through my playthrough of Final Fantasy X. I haven't gone a lot farther. I'm at Seymour 3. So
you're at Seymour 3 already?
Yeah, I was at Mount Gagazet last time we talked. So yeah, I know. I'm. Oh, he's back. I saw you first for a second. So yeah, I'm at Seymour 3 right now. So I kind of stopped playing over a little bit. But no, I have been playing Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh,
so
really?
So I beat Fallen Order, and then I've never touched Survivor. I haven't touched Survivor yet. So I've been playing through Fallen Order, and I just got to Kashyyyk. So I'm literally on like the 3rd planet of the game. Like I'm not far at all right now.
God, the game is
but I've only
good.
played. It's so good. But in the nature of Star Wars. So this is gonna take us to our first talk point. In the nature of Star Wars, May 4th just happened, and if you guys have been on the internet at all, you know exactly where I'm going with this. Star Wars Battlefront II has reached 17,000 concurrent players. 18,000 concurrent players on Steam as of the time of recording this, and it has been going up. The push for Battlefront 3 is insane.
Yep.
And I have been playing the game pretty much since launch, nonstop. And for the Republic, Fizz has decided to join the cause, and we've been playing together. So I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
one, what are your thoughts on reviving a game and
Yeah.
bringing it past its 10,000 peak that it currently had,
I
or
was
that it had before?
actually just talking about this with Gabe, another one of our friends in the Discord here, and because his talking point, I guess, like the thing that he was advocating for was to have this exact thing done for like Halo Infinite, and he's like it's possible. Like Halo Infinite was more alive than Battlefront 2 was right before its big revival push. So we've been talking about this a lot, but I think when it comes to just the concept, right? Like so many people kind of fail to understand that the power is really in our hands. Like we are the power. Like we are the lifeblood of well gaming in general, but especially multiplayer gaming, right? Like if there is a will, there is a way. I mean, Horizon Modern Warfare is proof of that. I mean, the fans took it not only into their own hands to bring back an old game, they took it into their own hands to make their own version of it and to present it to their own player base. And yeah, obviously it's going to be less people that are hardcore enough to like torrent game files and set up private servers, but like 1,000 daily players is 1,000 daily players. That's enough to get lobbies going. That's enough to have a small focused community. 20,000 players in Battlefront 2, that's a much bigger, albeit, still small focused community. I think the craziest thing about this, and something that I have personally not experienced until this, is that it's not a small revival. It is eclipsing the launch of the game in ways that I did not think possible. The rule
So,
has always been, and I'm sorry, I'll let you go, but the rule has always been your first impression is your first impression. You will never reach that peak again. That has always been the rule, and I've never seen it broken, but I guess rules are rules because they can always have exceptions, and this is crazy.
so that's what I was gonna go into. So its peak. So Battlefront 2 had its peak players, not at launch. Its peak, its 10,000 players peak, was in January 2021. That was 4 years ago. The game was older than 4 years, right? It
No,
reached a peak
that's when
then.
it came out on Steam.
Yeah, so I was gonna say but the console version of Battlefront 2 reached a peak at launch, but the Steam version when it came out, 10,000 players, great, fantastic, and it reached a new revival. If you look at the sales, the released sales, at least from the PlayStation version of the game had another resurgence when the Steam version came out, like 4 years ago. It had in January, that was its previous peak because it had the 10,000 players from Steam, as well as the players from PlayStation that just bought the game and the resurgence. So
Interesting.
this
I
isn't the
wonder
first
why.
time this game has been revived. The game has been literally resuscitated. So it was at 2,000 players, kind of averaging around that area
Yeah.
since 2000 or since 2021, and it almost doubled that past and is almost 10 times as populated as it was before, which is insane.
I suspect that by the time this episode is out, if it hasn't already hit 20K, it'll be close.
Yeah, I think so too. And this came from May 4th. And I also came from, I don't know if you've noticed this, Star Wars is big again. Like Star Wars has been super popular recently in like every metric. Um, can't even get on the internet without seeing Star Wars stuff. And Star Wars, I love Star Wars. Like that's not like a new thing to me.
No,
But like Star Wars content is at an all-time high. The obviously with Battlefront 2, the games are like Jev is playing Battlefront 2, you know?
that's crazy. Yeah.
And yeah. So
Handler
I
was
just
playing it too, and he's a S&D COD player. Like, what is he doing playing Battlefront?
dude,
Like, he's not
exactly.
even like
So it's
Jev. At
just
least is known for being a multi gamer, but like Handler's over here playing Battlefront 2. Like, what are you doing?
yeah, so I absolutely have been loving just seeing Star Wars kind of in the limelight again, and it's just been so fun, as well as Heroes versus Villains and Hero Showdown. are like populated, dude. Like you could hop on and you could get a game in like 10 seconds, and it's just great.
In case people don't really know the story of Battlefront 2, or any viewers here who might not have been plugged in, 8 years ago when this stuff started coming out, I'm gonna give just a super brief summary of like how this all happened. So Star Wars Battlefront 2 was released in 2017. It was basically made to kind of tie in with The Last Jedi and just kind of like do that stuff. So it's a multiplayer game, super fun Star Wars themed multiplayer game by the Battlefield devs. Um, and there were some issues at launch. There was a lot of controversy around microtransactions that were in the game before launch that had to get removed. There was a pretty bad first impression, and that led to a lot of long-term issues that the devs were constantly uphill battling on. They ended up campaigning on a huge promise of not just fixing a lot of the issues and rebalancing the game to make more sense with their new progression system that they wanted to implement, but also in just adding a lot more content, keeping the game alive for a long time. They did support the game up until about 2020, implementing a lot of Rise of Skywalker content, some movie content, like they added stuff from Solo, I believe. I don't think they ever did any Rogue One stuff, but Solo was represented in the game. And then a lot of prequel era, Clone Wars era stuff was like a huge push to get a lot of that in the game. And then they eventually sunset support of the game to move their team over to the next Battlefield game, where this game has remained pretty much dormant ever since. Like no patches, bleeding players and things like that. So the fact that like out of nowhere fans just decided they were going to revive this game, like it's proof of exactly what I said. The power is in our hands. We can send the message by supporting the things we like. And ultimately I think that's the lesson here, is support the things you like. It doesn't matter if it's already super super big, that at that point you're just pouring water into an ocean, but you just, if you play the things you like, right, you can find people to play with. I mean, I play some games that are called Discord fighting games, right? Literally games that you can only play online if you find a buddy to play with on your server, right? Like, and those games, if you just want to play them, like play them. And I think that's the lesson here, is that like play the things you like and utilize that power, because we absolutely, we can get people together and we can go play a game that's dead and repopulate those servers and get people interested again. It's crazy.
No, 100%. And like straight up, like with Battlefront 2, we've had like that huge resurgence, and this game was, when he says dormant, like you could get into lobbies,
Yeah.
but pretty much the entirety of the populace of the game was in Hero Showdown and Heroes versus Villains. That's all you could play. Getting into a supremacy game could take an hour to just get in, like to, and then plus the 4 hour game mode that it is. So when you have these players, I don't need to lobby surf. I can get into a game of supremacy in like 20 minutes, or in less than 20 minutes. I mean, like it's just
Yeah.
quick. And you
Yeah,
can
we,
just get
we
in.
we just played a couple, like a little bit ago, and we were getting to lobbies, I mean, less than a minute. And
Less
these
than a
are
minute.
lobbies with upwards of 40 people in them. Like we were able to find lobbies pretty quickly.
Yeah. So it's just been really good, and Star Wars, seeing Star Wars in the limelight again is always good. I've been seeing
Yeah.
a lot of Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor content as well, and then
And obviously
just stuff. I bought a
Andor
lightsaber.
just finished, and that obviously made everyone really
Was
happy. So
amazing. Yeah. So I ended up actually skipping over a thing in that we were gonna talk about,
we were,
but
but it's fine.
we could go into
Yeah,
we
sure.
could go into it.
We
'Cause,
could. I mean, is there anything before we move on? Is there anything left you want to say with Battlefront 2? Because I mean, I'm sure there's some more we could talk. But if you don't, if you want to move on, we can move on. Leaving that to you.
play Battlefront 2.
Play Battle,
Go play.
guys. Play Battlefront 2 because I want Battlefront 3 so bad.
We
I
Oh
want it
yeah,
so
we need to talk
bad.
about the goal. The goal is Battlefront 3.
That's the
The goal
goal.
is to put Battlefront 2 back on the desk of EA and DICE and get them to make Battlefront 3.
Yeah.
So that's the end goal. Go play Battlefront 2.
And to be
Join their
completely
cause.
fair here, we have at the very least gotten the attention of DICE. Obviously, EA is not going to make any statements. That's not how they operate. But DICE developers and people who worked on Battlefront 2 have already made statements. They've posted. They've made comments saying like, "We see what you guys are doing. This is awesome." Comments like, "We want to get the band back together and make another game." Unfortunately, stopping development of the game was actually not even the developers um
plan.
like plan. Like there was more content planned for Battlefront 2. They wanted to continue working on it, but obviously, as a studio, they have to work on other games, and with the studio having so many issues with Battlefield 2042, it was kind of an all hands on deck moment. So they had to pull the team that was working on Battlefront 2 and get them to work on Battlefield, and it ended up not necessarily paying out the way I think they hoped, but it was the right move at the time. I mean, obviously you got to do what you got to do, but I think it would have been great if they had gotten a chance once that was done to go back to Battlefront 2. And I think a lot of those developers have kind of expressed the sentiment that they regret not being able to. So I know that things are obviously not up to just EA or just DICE to make these decisions. Obviously, when you're dealing with Disney, multi-billion-dollar corporation, right? Like, you have rules and you have things you got to do. And I was just talking to you about this the other day. My theory that I'm currently running with, obviously we have new Star Wars content still kind of trickling out, but I know that Disney's big plan is to huge resurgence with Star Wars content, doing movies and more media and things like that. I think that if we're going to get a Battlefront 3, first of all, it's going to be after the next Battlefield game for sure, because that's coming out
Oh, 100%.
relatively soon-ish. But obviously, development will have to start once that's done, because that's the first biggest project that DICE is working on right now. But my theory is that once we start getting more announcements and start getting closer to the time where these new movies, the bigger push for Star Wars media is going to start happening. Just like how the first Battlefront from EA was a tie-in for The Force Awakens, and the second Battlefront from EA was a tie-in to The Last Jedi, and then obviously the DLC seasons were kind of tie-ins to Rise of Skywalker and the shows and stuff that were kind of coming out, and Solo and things like that, right? They were tying into these new releases. Well, there hasn't really been a huge release like that to tie in, so maybe Episode 10 or whatever new thing is going to happen. I'm thinking that's probably going to be when we start seeing maybe the announcement, or maybe even like if they can get started working on this soon, we may possibly get the game or whatever the next Star Wars project is going to look like as a tie-in for that. And I think that's kind of my theory, is when we're going to start seeing Battlefront 3 news proper is going to be close to that.
Yeah, probably within the next like 3,
Yeah.
4 years, I think, is when we're gonna start seeing more Battlefront 3 stuff. But it's fine. Just keep playing Battlefront 2, guys.
Yeah.
we can't let it die.
The
'Cause the thing
message
is, the
has
second
been
this
sent.
dies, but the thing is it's been sent. But if it's not sustainable, they're never gonna make Battlefront 3. It's gonna be, people just play Battlefront 2, and if it just dies as a trend, it's gonna suck. So keep playing Battlefront 2. Keep one of my favorite games populated.
How much money do you think they've already made from new Battlefront 2 players? It was on sale for May 4th. That's what started this whole thing. A lot of these players that are playing are new players.
It was also on sale for Battlefield during the DICE sale. It was on sale then as well.
But I mean, like, specifically, like
that.
That's another huge catalyst for this, is because it was on sale during May 4th. People wanted to rally on it, and that kind of kicked this off. But like, a lot of these people are new players. Even if they're not new players, even if they're returning players, maybe they were on PS4 8 years ago. Maybe they're on PC now, right? So like, a lot of these people are double dipping, or I would imagine that it's definitely enough, not just the social element of this revival, but the monetary element of this revival. I mean, even if we assume lower numbers than we would like to assume, right? Even if we assume 20,000 new players, right? That's still 20,000 new players. Like, that is not nothing.
This is all just Steam. Like, we don't have the PlayStation releases yet. So it's
we won't get those until next month when the NPD's out, and even that's only going to be for the US. We won't get global numbers.
Yeah, which is crazy. But we play in US servers, so populated servers is very important still.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, Battlefront 2, huge success. This trend is like my favorite trend on the internet, and I don't know what can top it, because it's just, everyone go hop on one of my favorite games, like in my favorite games list of all time. Like,
yep,
do that. I just speaking of fourth. Good news, bad news.
Oh no.
We have good news, bad news.
All right, hit me.
Well, well, Missing Link sadly got canceled. I know that doesn't matter to you.
After we
But
just talked about it too.
broke my heart. I talked about how we've had no news, and I literally texted Fizz, um, like, "Hey, you should make a TikTok of the clip of me talking about
Yeah.
Missing Link, followed by the Twitter post. Missing Link, Kingdom Hearts Missing Link got canceled, which, for those who don't know, mobile game coming out by Square Enix was going to tie in to the new saga for the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Kind of a big project, had a lot of demos. They couldn't get the game right. It was like Pokemon Go Kingdom Hearts or something like that. Couldn't figure it out. But less than 2 hours after they did that, they released the best news for any Kingdom Hearts fan. And that was the Kingdom Hearts 4 photos. Have you seen those?
I have seen the photos. I am excited. I think it's sad that we are so starved for Kingdom Hearts 4 news that we're over here analyzing, making 30-minute trailer breakdowns, but instead of a trailer breakdown, it's just a series
4
of
photos.
10 or whatever photos. Or was it 4 photos? I thought it
The
was like
first post was
10.
4. They've released 3 more after. I'm pretty sure it's just 7.
So not even. Oh, of course it's 7. Of course it's 7. Not even
I
10
think they did it on
photos.
purpose.
Gamora.
What do you think?
I think it looks great. Playable Mickey. That's my highlight. So everything else, throw it away. I don't care. Just let me play as Mickey again.
Yeah, plays Michael.
Yeah, Michael Mouse. I call him that because we're homies. So.
I call him that because we're enemies.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
He doesn't get a nickname.
No, it looks great. I mean, obviously visually, I had no doubt. Square, I don't know what happened to them, but they've always been like at the forefront of technology. So don't get me wrong here, but they somehow in the last 10 5-10 years went from being like, oh yeah, like we're at the forefront of technology, to like, just kidding, we're just gonna make the best looking games just ever made. And they just kind of just rolled with that, and I salute them for it, because my god, the remake games, Rebirth 16, and now Kingdom Hearts 4, like, look incredible. I think some people are a little worried, because Kingdom Hearts obviously kind of more of a cartoony style to it, very Disney-fied, very anime. And we're kind of lacking that. A lot of the proportions are more realistic and things like that. But my theory, and I think this is kind of the rolling theory for most people, is that it's just going to be this current world that Sora is exploring, where it's going to be more realistic, just due to the nature of the story of where Kingdom Hearts is right now, the place that he's currently at, where we're seeing these screenshots for. It is a more like realistic, based in our closer to our reality sort of world. I'm just trying to no spoilers this, if that, yeah.
Yeah, I can
it,
tell.
yeah, so it's kind of more so closer to like our reality. So I think that's what they're going for. They want it to look more, more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth esque and less, PS2 Kingdom Hearts esque. But I don't imagine, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't imagine the entire game looking like that if we are still gonna go explore Disney worlds and still do our normal mainline Kingdom Hearts stuff. The question is, are we still going to be doing that? I don't really know. I think there's hints that we may, but no full confirmation in every single snippet of gameplay or whatever, that we've seen so far that's been officially revealed from Square Enix has been Sora in a very realistic style, in a very realistic looking place. So some people are a little worried about that. I'm not, and honestly, even if this is the direction they take it for this game, I'm okay with it. But what are your thoughts on the art direction specifically?
So I think the art direction looks fine. I think this is the best Sora has looked, like,
I agree.
physically.
I agree.
I don't know how much I like the pants. It's been a
No,
problem.
here's the thing.
I don't think I've liked Sora's pants in any Kingdom Hearts game. I
I
love
think
his
it looks
fans though.
good, man. I think his shoes, I think his fit goes hard in this game. I'm telling
I
you, it looks
I
phenomenal.
I don't know about the pants.
I'll
We could
put
see. We'll
the
see in
visual. I'll put
gameplay.
the visuals up for anybody who's watching, who's using the their eyeballs to experience this. So for any of you audio only people, definitely look it up on your own time. But I think he looks great in this game.
Now Kingdom Hearts 4 Sora looks great, and I love all of that. I love the art direction. I don't know how I feel about the coloring, and I've seen that a little bit on
Hmm,
Twitter.
really?
Was discussed on how the game kind of looks like they blood sucked all of the color and everything looks dull. I
Well,
understand why they're going for that. Again, it's the more realistic look, but like Kingdom Hearts games are usually full of like joy and happiness and the my friends are my power speech. And to take away the life, that's something that I'm kind of concerned about. But literally, other than those two things, I think Kingdom Hearts 4 looks amazing. The only bit of Disney that we've seen other than Michael is we've seen Donald and Goofy
yeah.
in the initial trailer,
And we got
and they
heavy
look
hints
very
at like Olympus
cartoony.
and stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. It's confirmed. It's the same Japanese voice actor for Hades. And then the obviously the red to blue the blue to red fire is kind of a gimme. But those guys look very cartoonish, and I feel like that's kind of where the art style is gonna look like. I feel like we're gonna get this world, this whatever, what's happening in the story, no spoilers, what's happening here, and then as we explore the Disney worlds, I think we're gonna get more of the Donald and Goofy looking art style, which I still think is the best Donald and Goofy have looked. But you were mentioning Square Enix being on the forefront of pushing the best looking games. We just talked about this, and this is a little bit of a side tangent, but we can go on those. We talked about PS4 games that released on the PS4 that we think were made for the PS5. And the three that we mentioned were Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, and Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yep.
And we listed Final Fantasy VII Remake as the most stunning one. Do you still stand by that?
Well, actually, I don't know. I think it's definitely up there for sure. I think it really benefited from the transition from PS4 to PS5 or PC, or but the next gen transition. I think it really benefited heavily from it, and I think from a from an art style perspective too, just the things that they were able to kind of change, but you could tell it wasn't a change, it was an artistic change, it was more a realization of what it was supposed to be. I think in that element, yeah, like I think they were able to really do that. I think if we're talking pure like this is a PS4 game that looks like it was on a PS5, I think actually your nominees change slightly, and I also think your winner changes slightly. Because I would then nominate Red Dead Redemption 2 as well.
Oh yeah.
And then I think I would give it to The Last of Us 2 as the winner for that. Um, but I would say like rebirth, or excuse me, remake is certainly in that conversation on both ends.
Because
Stunning game.
then also talked about the game that got the biggest upgrade, and I said Ghost of Tsushima got the biggest upgrade. I don't know if you remember that. I said Final Fantasy VII
Yeah,
was the best looking PS4 game, but I think Ghost of Tsushima had the best upgrade, like transition to the PS5.
yeah.
Would you put Final Fantasy
I
VII
would put I would
on
put
that list too?
remake there. I would put remake as the top of that because I think that's where it really excelled. Was it was not only a gorgeous looking game on PS4, but them being able to realize, like especially with the lighting, them being able to
Yeah.
realize everything, with the lighting and stuff on the PS5. Like I would also say like Spider Man is also up there, um,
Hmm.
you know, but like huge upgrade, man. Like it's hard to go back. It's really hard to go
Yeah.
back.
I think visuals for the PS4 were overall really good. Like I think the PS4 was a very good looking console.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Even
the
still.
PS5 I think has yeah. I just think the PS5 at this point is like the clear winner for each of these games. And I think what the biggest disadvantage is for the PS4, you were like, okay, good graphics, but 30 frames.
Yeah, that was
Whereas the
always the
PS5 is
trade-off.
like good graphics in 60 frames or like next gen amazing graphics and like 30 frames if you really want to play that. But then even recently, they're like, no, 120 frames and great graphics. So like
Yeah.
you're not sacrificing performance or gameplay pretty much anymore.
I think my
Um
favorite
like you
thing
were on PS4.
I think my favorite thing about this generation, not to go on another side tangent, but my favorite thing about this console generation is that 60 FPS became standard. That makes me so
Yes.
happy. I don't remember the exact number, so fact check me on this, but I think it's only 3 games that do not have any option for 60 FPS on these consoles. That is insane. That is amazing. Especially because there's been thousands, like 1,000+ games that have already come out in this generation in these last 4.5 years. And the fact that all of them except for just a couple, you can literally list on one hand the amount of games that don't have 60 FPS as an option. That just blows my mind. That was unthinkable at the end of the PS4's lifespan. And
Yeah.
especially because like usually that's the first thing to go when developers start making sacrifices. But I think the way these consoles were built, we're still seeing games that look really good even this late into the generation, and they're all still running at 60. And if they don't exclusively run at 60, there's an option for it. And
Mhm.
that's great. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, no, I love 60 FPS. And just tying back into just the whole visual aspect, I feel like games are just so attractive now. Like
Yeah.
um I think games are just so attractive. I absolutely love playing modern games, and again, Battlefront 2, old game but still looks great. Like you could just kind of
Yeah.
take a look at games. I think the gaming industry, obviously, because it's being pushed forward, is the best it's ever looked now, obviously. But I also think the good looking games are more accessible. Um,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that. I forgot to tell you, and it blinked my mind when
It's
we
fine.
were talking about
Hit
this.
hit me.
But gaming is the most accessible it's ever been.
Yep.
And I don't think people realize how accessible gaming is, because this is the most accessible thing ever. Everyone has a cell phone, and
Thank you for
there are so
saying
many
it.
games on on cell phones. There are so many games you can play. Good games. Now, I I play more mobile games than my brother. That's just a
That is
fact.
true. I don't play mobile games very much.
But that being said, he said not much. He's played a couple. Everyone has played a
Mhm.
couple. So I want to just know, what do you think? Where do you think in the next like 10 years? How do you think games are going to become more accessible? We saw a push for free to play. That's kind of ended, so we know that that's not really the direction it's going to go. Do you think it's going to have a resurgence or something like that? That kind of
Yeah.
conversation. I'm just
Well,
curious.
I think, and I am no analyst, I am no professional. This is just the thoughts of a gamer with 20 years experience. That's all I can offer to the table here is the hands is the thoughts of a player. I think, like you said, yeah, we saw a huge push for free to play. I think that is not going to go away, right? Obviously, there's still going to be free to play games, huge in like multiplayer spaces, especially, but I don't think that's the future of games in general. I actually do think, for as many obstacles and hurdles as they are, services like Game Pass, services like you know, uh, PS Plus or whatever equivalent you want to go with, any sort of gaming streaming service or gaming, um, you know, subscription model based service. I do actually think those are super cool, and that is going to also really help make games more accessible. You do just have like the general Netflix model, flat fee, get everything on the service, stop paying, lose everything on the service, right? I think that's going to really appeal to a certain demographic of players who might not play certain games or might only play one or two games a year. Now they just have access to a library of 1,000 games or whatever, and that's super cool for them. I do think you're gonna still see people like me who that just does not appeal to, um, but for like digital players and people who might not game a lot, like those are the people whose money they're trying to go after in the first place. So when you talk about making things accessible, right, and growing the industry, I see that being a huge push, right? Obviously, mobile, huge factor in that as well. I think a huge hurdle we're about to start running into, especially with global events, is that technology is getting more expensive. And I think the next generation of consoles is going to be higher than $500 as the entry point. Um, that is going to price some people out, unfortunately, and it's going to make I think it's going to make some trouble for some people who might be wanting to get a new console and maybe wanting to get into a new gaming space, but might not be able to because of being priced out. And so I think we're going to see a lot of people start doing games on mobile now, especially since mobile games are getting so. Phones are just more powerful than ever before, and they're able to run games that people wouldn't even consider, mobile games, right? Your phone can run proper modern games these days, and they have a lot of regular ports, like Resident Evil 4 remake got an iPhone port. Like that's just a real full game.
Balatro,
Yeah,
a
Balatro
which is a game, is literally was a game of the year nominee, and it
yeah,
won best mobile game.
yeah, yeah. So your phones are I think that's going to be a huge push for a lot of these developers, and then um, I think as well too the PC space gets bigger every single year, and that is its own beast. But I think that's accessible for a lot of other reasons. There's a lot about PC gaming that appeals to the complete opposite demographic that we were discussing earlier. But I actually think it's really good to see that audience, the super hardcore, is growing, and so is the casual. You want them. You don't want one to over eclipse the other too much, right? Like obviously, there's probably going to be more on one side, right? But the fact that it's all growing, the industry is making more money. The games are selling better. There's growth in this industry, and that's just it's great to see all around. The more people that play, the better. And so the way we can, whatever way we need to, especially with global economic stuff, right? The way we can get the games in the hands of more people, the better.
Oh, 100%. And like you were saying kind of a little bit, I feel like I kind of agree with that. I think that the gaming industry is going to lean towards a kind of you buy our game or don't kind of landscape, as in like there's going to be a lot of good releases, and we're going to need to start deciding like, oh, like what games are we going to buy, what games are we not going to, because it's going to get to a point where the industry is so big, and I definitely think within the next 10 years that every month is going to have a major release.
Yeah, we're
and
already seeing that.
and yeah, we're already seeing that. I mean, the end of this month on May 30th, we're getting um what's it called?
Night Rain, Elden
Uh
Ring.
Night Rain, Elden Ring. May 30th, a From Software game is getting made. And then
That was just a
Lineage
couple
2
weeks
comes
after
out.
Doom. Just a couple weeks after Expedition 33. Just a couple weeks after Oblivion. Like there's something
and
going on
and
every week, man. It's crazy, and
and
that's
none
just the
of
AAA
this
space.
includes, exactly. I was going to say none of this includes indie stuff. There are indie releases being made all the time. You guys can't see it, but on my shelf that's over that direction, I have a Hollow Knight statue, one of my favorite games of all time, an indie game. We had global phenomenons like Undertale and Deltarune. These are gigantic projects being made by small studios of people who don't have anything. When Silk Song drops, that's going to be a day. Like it's the same thing with, oh, this year, please. But that's gonna be the same thing with GTA 6. It's a moment. It's a thing. If Battlefront 3 comes out, it's a moment. It's a thing. We're getting to the point where that's happening monthly. Like a game that I guarantee, a game that interests you will come out next month. Like even if it's not a huge gigantic AAA game, a small indie game by a
And even
tiny
if you
studio
don't
might
know about
interest
it,
you.
and even if you don't know that game exists, it is still coming out.
Exactly. So I think that the gaming landscape is pretty much just going to turn into you kind of got to dig through AAA to get to indie. If AAA games aren't interesting you this month, you're going to need to dig and kind of look for those small releases because it's just getting so big and it's just going to
Yeah.
get so much bigger.
There is a
And then
level
for
of
mobile gaming,
oversaturation that I think is slightly a concern.
yeah, and I don't think the oversaturation is even a bad thing. Like I usually argue, I would argue that it's a
It is
bad
for
thing.
multiplayer games, but not for single player games. That's for dang sure.
Exactly. The multiplayer games have been dominating for a while now, and we're kind of seeing people get really into single player story games a lot recently. I mean, God of War, Red Dead, Last of Us, huge games, all single player. And we're going to talk about some more that have started coming out when we talk about our next topic. But like when it comes to mobile games, sorry, got too many things in my brain right now.
That's how our brains
When
work,
it,
by the way, guys.
yeah, it happens. When it comes to mobile games, I think mobile gaming is going to be in a really good spot. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. It's not like a mobile juggernaut. Like I don't think it's gonna be like a mainstay like console, like an alternative to playing on a console or anything like that. But it has its audience, and I think it's just gonna kind of keep its audience as like children, Facebook moms, and people who are bored at the doctor's office. Like you got like your categories. Um, and I think that's pretty much just kind of gonna be where it's at. I don't think it's gonna evolve very much because it hasn't in 10 years. So I
Well,
don't see it in the next 10 years really evolving to any more than that.
I think the main thing that's going to change with mobile gaming is I think we're just going to see more of the what we would traditionally call like a real game, like, right, I think we're just going to see more of those start releasing on mobile too, as long as they can
Oh,
figure it out,
probably.
and especially in the AAA space, and like where they have a lot of budget to throw at making a mobile port, but then also in the indie space where you might not need the horsepower. So yeah, you can throw Balatro on your phone and it works the exact same because it's a pretty simple game, right? You can throw Cookie Clicker on your phone. You could, there's a lot of like these games that I think we're just going to see a lot more of these like bigger, more, traditionally, widely accepted sort of releases. So we're just going to start seeing more of those on mobile, and that's going to grow the audience that way because you're going to gain more interest from a new audience. And then the other main thing with mobile is that they're starting to push, like, Game Pass has Game Pass streaming, and as streaming gets better, you're streaming to your mobile device to play your Xbox games, or like the PlayStation equivalent, right? You're streaming your PlayStation games directly to your iPhone or whatever, and that's kind of opening up the ecosystem slightly. I think we're going to see a bigger push for that because the thing is that the tech isn't really there all the way yet right now for that kind of streaming, but obviously technology will always improve. So as that gets better, I think we're going to see a lot more people embracing that. I don't see myself being one of them, but like I know people, especially like in our
Mhm.
Discord, talk about that all the time. They want to be able to stream their games on their phone. So there's people who want to do that. And I think especially like casuals, they might be more interested in subscribing to a subscription service and then playing games on their phone if they can, versus maybe spending upwards of $600 on a new console next generation. That might be a decision that somebody chooses to make. Catering to everybody is the
Yeah.
only way to grow in that instance.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And yeah, I think it'll be interesting to kind of see where mobile gaming and where uh kind of console gaming kind of evolves and how it evolves. Just so interesting. I mean, you've also lived more of a gaming lifetime than I
Yeah,
have, just by the product of being nine
being
years
older.
older than me.
Yeah,
But
literally
like,
turned
I mean,
28 yesterday. So
yeah, just the shift even in my games, you know what I mean, of being like Castle Crashers to like modern day beat 'em ups, like just the shift from 2008 to
yeah,
now is kind of crazy to me.
you definitely
Um,
like a lot more RPGs than you used to.
I do. Like I think this is a perfect opportunity to
That
talk about some
I did it on
RPGs.
purpose.
I think this is a perfect opportunity to talk about some RPGs. So you know more about this than I do.
Yeah,
You
so much more. I've
introduced
played every
this.
game on this
You
list.
introduced this.
Yeah, no, let me let
Um,
me let me take this away because this is like the most
talk
based
about
thing that's ever happened.
talk about it, and then we'll talk about it as a group.
All right, guys, we're gonna talk about RPGs for 15 minutes, so buckle up. Um, IGN, they're a they're a whole can of worms in and of themselves, but they definitely don't only post bad stuff, and this is proof of that because they earlier in this month they released their their updated top 25 best JRPGs specifically, but JRPGs of all time. And I gotta say, man, this is probably like the most based thing IGN has ever done. This list is honestly amazing, and we're gonna talk about it. Because this is like this is actually like it's ridiculous that they're highlighting some of these games. Like we're gonna talk about it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to do so much preamble, but like I'm still kind of shocked that like IGN posted this. Like this is crazy.
So there's like four games that I really, really want to talk about. Um, I don't know if there's any ones that you specifically want to talk about
Yeah, I mean, there's a
because
few in here that I definitely will have some stuff to say on, but I mean, I think
so I personally want to
yeah.
talk about 25.
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
want
Well,
to talk.
that's the best way to start off. So this is the top 25 best JRPGs according to IGN, and so it starts at 25. What is 25?
Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne. So, like, you're starting your list with a game that some people would consider to be like the greatest
Yeah,
RPG of all time.
every game on
And
this
that's
list is somebody's favorite RPG of all time, and that's awesome.
and that's what I was gonna say. My favorite JRPG and my favorite game of all time is on this list, and like so many people's favorite games of all time is on this list. I think there's one that I don't agree with. I think I would have chosen another game from the same series in that exact slot. But like SMT3 Nocturne is kind of a crazy pool
Yeah,
to
it's
kind
the
of
best SMT game. I'll say it right now.
yeah, it really is.
It's either this or four. Those are like the two that I would consider to be that top tier. But I would give the nod to SMT3. I think that absolutely deserves its spot. I'd even put it higher.
I I would put it higher just because there's some games on here that I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. There are gaps in my knowledge of some of these games.
Don't worry, I'll fill
But like SMT3 is a great, fantastic game, and no spoilers. But it also has one of the best endings ever. There are so many endings, guys.
Oh,
There are
SM3 is
so
three.
many endings in this game.
SMT3 is great, dude.
Great game. The next game that I know on this list is Live Alive. So, is there anything in
Yeah,
those next?
we'll kind of go through a little bit here. So SMT3 is 25. 24 is actually Breath of Fire 3. Now that's a Capcom classic. Breath of Fire 3 is great. I don't necessarily even think that's my favorite Breath of Fire, to be completely real. I don't know, but Breath of Fire 3 is great. I would certainly personally not put it above SMT3, but Breath of Fire is phenomenal. You got Golden Sun next at 23, one of the single best GBA games, just of all time. Wonderful, wonderful game. Great sequel as well. You have 22 Nino Kuni. Like see what I'm saying? Like every game on this list is somebody's favorite. Nino Kuni is incredible. I still haven't played the second one, so I will need to get around to that eventually. But level 5, Ghibli and everything, like phenomenal game. 21, you got Lost Odyssey, the real Final Fantasy 13, according to some people. Um, that's the joke everyone makes about Lost Odyssey, but Lost Odyssey is phenomenal. You got Star Ocean 2, one of my favorite games ever made, just full out the best Star Ocean. It's not even a it's just not even close. 19, you have Bravely Default 2. I actually feel bad because this is the only game on this list I haven't played. So Bravely Default 2, I hear really good things about, but I cannot speak on unfortunately. I will eventually play it. I own it twice. I think I own it on Switch and PS4. So I'll play it eventually, I promise. But then, yeah, 18, as Devin has already stated here, 18 is Live Alive. Did you have something you wanted to say about Live Alive specifically, or did you just say you just knew it?
Not a lot, just I know it.
That you know it.
I've heard of Lost
Congratulations.
Odyssey. I obviously know Nina Kuni. I've seen Golden Sun on a daily basis while scrolling through the GBA on my emulator.
Yeah,
Um, but like I know those three games, like I know of them. Like Live Alive is the only one that I kind of like know. So like
right. You'd love Star Ocean
but
too, by the way, but I'll let y'all. I will save my preaching for another day. I promise.
for another day. But yeah, no, Live Alive. I've heard fantastic things about. I've never played the game myself. I've heard fantastic things about it. I've seen kind of some stuff about it because didn't it get like a remake or something
Yes, yeah, that
recently?
was actually
Or
the remake of Live Alive is the first time it was ever ported to the West. So that was our first time
oh,
getting it.
okay.
Was the Switch remake?
Yeah, so I just that's kind of the stuff that I've heard and like
Yeah,
that's it.
which is awesome. I think Square is putting a lot of effort into their back catalog right now and making their games more accessible, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, the 1 through 6 collection,
Yeah,
Final
yeah,
Fantasy one
or
through
just
six collection.
even just these little HD remakes of their older games like the Dragon Quest 1 through 3 and Live Alive, and Like they're putting some effort in that, and they've made statements saying that that's their goal, is they want to give some attention to their back catalog. So I'm all for that. I think preservation's amazing. So
Oh, really, Mr. Physical
yeah,
Collector?
yeah. Who would have thought? Um,
Yeah, if you guys don't know, join the Discord, and he talks about his
yeah,
Fallout games
my
runs all the
pickups all the
time,
time.
his
Yeah, no, for
pickups. So
sure.
you guys can see all of those, and he frequently posts about his collection. So definitely join the Sporadic Gaming Discord.
Link down
Sorry,
below.
shameless plug.
Link down below.
Shameless plug.
Want to talk about 17? Have you played the series?
So I know some Tales of
Okay,
games.
no, that's fair. That's fair. That's
I
fair.
I know of Tales of Vesperia, is how you say it, right?
Which I'm gonna be honest, that is not the one I expected a company like IGN to post. IGN, well, not IGN specifically, but just like the general, like when you think the general zeitgeist of like what people know about Tales, it's Symphonia. That's like what everyone talks about. No one ever
Yeah,
really branches out
Symphonia
beyond Symphonia.
and because the
And then whatever the
newest
curse
is
game, yeah,
Arise.
like it's the current game and then Symphonia.
Yeah, so like I've seen Arise be talked about a lot, and you played through it, and it was
Oh,
literally life
oh,
changing.
I loved Rise so much.
We might need to do an episode talking about life changing moments in video games because I cannot explain to you when I got kicked out of the living room because he was beating Tales of
Oh, there
Arise
was so much
and
going on
wanted
that
me to
day.
see nothing. And then he walks into my room like 2 hours later and is like, Devin, this is a life-changing game.
I
So
was
like
a changed man.
I've definitely seen some stuff, but Vesperia I've not
Yeah,
really I don't know much about this.
I like Vesperia quite a bit. So I'm just I'm happy to see it getting represented here. There's a lot of like I think if I'm not mistaken, just looking at the list, I do think they tried to keep it to one per franchise. Just because it
Seems like
there's a very glaring omission here that like would very clearly be on a list if it wasn't one per franchise. So we'll get to that. But with Tales of Vesperia here, the fact that that is their pick for the best Tales of game, like that's based. You know what I mean? Like everything on here, like I was reading this and I was just like looking through and I'm like, dude, like these are some based picks, man. Vesperia is great. Speaking of super mega
yeah.
based though, by the way, 16 is Kingdom Hearts 2. And it should be higher, but I don't even care. The fact that it's here at all, oh my god. It's an
It
amazing
is
game.
Kingdom Hearts is, in my opinion, the biggest omission usually on lists like this. It's like the one that like everyone's like, dude, you didn't mention Kingdom Hearts. They'll be like, oh, top 5 best Square Enix games. And then you get like 7, 10, 12, 8, and 14. Or 16 and 15. Like you get like those 5. And it's like, guys, but like
And sometimes 5
uh
or 3 if they're old heads.
super base. Yeah, 5, 3, 6. But then you're like guys like Kingdom Hearts 2, and like they did not miss. Like they got Kingdom Hearts 2. They like picked it up. So it's just super cool to see it here, and it's my favorite game of all time. So obviously I would put it higher. Um, but like I honestly think with the games that it's above, that's below, I don't even know how many of these I would pass. Like
Yeah.
in the populace. So I think it's in a pretty good spot. I think all of these are in pretty good spots,
No,
except
for
for
sure.
probably Nocturne, um,
Yeah.
and number 9.
I
But we'll
think
get to that.
I think with Kingdom Hearts 2, like, you know, obviously I love it so much. It's in my top 5 favorite games ever made, right? But trying to take the bias out of it and then looking at this list from like a wider lens, um yeah, it makes total sense why Kingdom Hearts is where it is. I do think there's an argument to put it above Grandia 2, which is 15. Grandia 2 is 15. I think there's an argument to have Kingdom Hearts in that spot instead, but Grandia 2 is also an incredible game. And I am also happy. I'm pretty sure that one just got a remake recently too. So all these games are starting to come back and making waves. All
It
these
also
like,
just got added to
yeah.
PS Plus to the online to its library.
Sweet. Okay,
So
cool. So you know what? Maybe I'll have an excuse to play Grandia some more. But Kingdom Hearts 2, 16, 15 is Grandia. Now we have like our first kind of like modern. Actually, no. I guess Bravely Default 2 is pretty modern. But aside from Bravely Default 2, our next like actual like modern recent game is Like a Dragon 8. Having a Yakuza game up in the top 25 best JRPGs list. That is so based, you have no idea. I saw that and I was like kicking my feet like a little schoolgirl. I was like, there's no way they put Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth on here. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth or Infinite Wealth is definitely, I think, a good pick for like a Dragon game. So I've never played a Yakuza game myself, but I've watched a playthrough of 3 Yakuza games.
Wow, that's a lot.
Zero, yes, Zero, Like a Dragon, and Infinite Wealth. And so out
Yeah.
of those 3, I think my favorite is Infinite Wealth, just by watching. So again, I haven't experienced the game myself, but I think it's the best out of those 3 that I've seen.
No, for sure, for sure. Um, no, Infinite Wealth is great, so I have no complaints there, and a super based pick, so can't even complain about that either. Speaking of super mega ultra based picks, 13 is Xenogears. I'm telling you, they're cooking over there at IGN with this list. Xenogears on this list is crazy. I actually just bought at the Liz convention I went to. I just bought Xenogears, so I actually own a physical CIB copy of that. But Xenogears, the progenitor of the Xenoblade series, Xenogears is phenomenal. It is, if you include that in the Xenoblade series, which no one does because you shouldn't, nothing to do with it. But if you include it, it's the best one. Not even close. Like we'll talk about Xenoblade more eventually, but because there is one entry of that on this list. Spoiler alert. But Xenogears is phenomenal, and everyone should play it. It is one of my favorite RPGs. Straight up, all of my favorite RPGs are on this list except for one that makes me a little sad. But I'm not gonna spoil this. We'll talk about that more later. But going on to the next one, do you have anything you want to say?
We So we do have to go quickly through some of these.
Yeah, like a couple of
But
these
we
we'll kind of
can't
go
go.
through fast, but
We can't go quickly through Thousand Year Door.
yeah,
I That was the one that I was the most shocked by.
yeah,
I could not believe that I'm looking at Thousand Year Door because, like, who talks about Thousand Year Door that isn't just a Mario fan? Like, I thought this is the game that Jacob Alfred talks about
yeah,
when he's talking about how good is Thousand Year Door is like one of the best RPGs of all time,
yeah,
and they agree. And this is IGN. These are the same people who put the Invincible season 3 finale as the worst episode of the entire show. The same guys who are also putting in their 12th spot Thousand Year Door. I just crazy.
What I'm so impressed by with this list and why I keep making these exclamations about how based it is because it covers the entire gamut of what you'd expect a JRPG list to include. You can tell this wasn't just like some guy who really likes Persona who put all the Persona games in the top 5, right? Like this is made by a person or group of people who really understand the history and the relevance, but also like the wide gamut of what encapsulates a JRPG, because the word JRPG or even just RPG like means so many different things to so many people. It is such a huge and infinitely intricate genre of games. So the fact that there is these entries like Paper Mario or on the same list with like Live Alive, like Star Ocean, like these are huge, awesome, crazy picks. So Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is on here, and it deserves to be. Thousand Year Door is easily the best one. Probably, honestly, one of the best Mario games, just full stop. So
I mean,
certainly
Odyssey is still
deserving.
better,
Certainly
but
deserving.
yeah.
Do you have anything you want to say about 11? I don't really have much to say about.
Yeah.
So
So Octopath Traveler 2, um, crazy that it's 2. I preferred Octopath Traveler 1.
I feel like I
Um,
haven't heard anybody prefer 2 over 1, but then I ask like general, like I see in like forums or YouTube comments or Twitter or whatever, then I see them, it seems like maybe Octopath Traveler 2 is the more popular one, but I just don't know anybody in like my personal life that prefers 2 over 1.
I have no idea. I've beaten Octopath Traveler 1. I never beat 2.
Yeah,
I
same.
played like 3 hours of it and I couldn't really get into it. But Octopath Traveler is a really based pick. Really good.
Yeah, again,
Um,
just picking that from that wide gamut, it's deserving as well. It's one of, I think it's one of
Beautiful
Square's
story.
best newer like IPs.
For sure. All right. I know you have stuff to say about
you know,
10.
you know. So number 10 is Trails in the Sky. That was actually the thing on this list that made me like audibly make noise, because why is Kaseki on this list? How does IGN know what Kaseki is? Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like a Falcom game in the top 10? First of all, they deserve it because Falcom is putting out banger after banger after banger every 6 months. And then you have the best one in the entire series, which is also getting a remake, by the way. So that's keeping in the theme of today. Of all these games have remakes. Trails in the Sky is perfect and everyone should play it. This list single-handedly got people I know in real life to ask, what is this Trails in the Sky game? Should I play it? And my answer is a definitively yes. Please, 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 please play it. It's on Steam right now, and if you don't have Steam, wait, like, I don't actually know when the remake's coming out, but wait for that because it's coming out real soon on everything. So happy to see that. That is the single most based thing that they've done on this entire list, is put Kaseki on it. That is, can't even. I have no words.
Main two takeaways: join the Discord, link in description, and go play Trails in the Sky. Yeah. So at number 9 is Pokemon Gold version. I don't think I would choose Gold to be the Pokemon game.
I'd pick either Emerald or Black.
Emerald or Platinum, probably. But I would. I think there's better Pokemon games. But again, Pokemon never gets put on these lists.
Pokemon has to be here.
It's such a big RPG and JRPG, and I feel like a lot of people are like, no, but it's a Pokemon game. And it's like, guys, Pokemon's an RPG, and I feel like sometimes it gets left out of those lists. One of the biggest. But it's Suikoden.
Yeah, Suikoden. Also super base pick. I'm not surprised that that's here though. You know what I mean? Like, that's not surprising.
Yeah, not surprised. Love the combat system of Suikoden. It makes like so much sense to my brain. 7 is Earthbound.
Also not surprising.
Guys, Earthbound is so good. There's a guy named Chargy. He made a video talking about Earthbound. Watch it. If you know nothing about Earthbound, watch it. You will become an Earthbound fan. It was a great video. Number 6. Now, I wouldn't personally put any of these games on my list,
but they gotta go here, man. And it's just the best one. Like, it is just the best one.
Dragon Quest 9.
No, 11.
11.
Yeah,
sorry, not 9.
Yeah. Hang on. Dragon Quest. He misread his Roman numerals.
Guys, it's a little bit late. I'm a little distracted. I don't know much about the Dragon Quest series, so I'll let Fizz take over. But Dragon Quest 11.
It's the grandfather of RPGs. One of them has to be here, and if it's not 3, it's gonna be 7. And if it's not 7, it's gonna be 8. And if it's not 8, it's definitely gonna be 11. I think 11 is personally my favorite one. So, with all of its faults, it deserves a slot here, and it being this high is not surprising. Dragon Quest is great. It just, I'm not gonna continue that sentence.
Yeah. Next up at number 5, we have Xenogears. I'm just kidding. We got Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Xenoblade 5, aka. Just kidding.
Yeah, Xenoblade 5. 3 over 2.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Good, bad?
Yes. I don't think you'd find most people who would disagree with this. I think you're gonna get some people up in arms that 1 isn't here, but
I feel like I hear so much conversation about Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I feel like I haven't heard much about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So I never played 3. I played 2 exclusively.
You might just not be rolling in the right circles, because I think the general consensus among Xenoblade fans is it's 1, 3 fighting for top spot, and 2 is at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know, so that's why I was.
And then you have the X, like the 12 people who played X, and then they would say that X is the best one. I haven't played X because I didn't buy a Wii U.
Right.
So I will eventually play X, I promise.
Yeah. So Xenoblade next up, and then this is the newest release.
This is the newest release on here.
So number 4, Metaphor ReFantazio. Have you played it at all yet?
So that is coming up soon. I want to finish Clair Obscura first.
Yeah. Metaphor is like almost perfect, If you haven't played it, I recommend playing it. If you don't like turn-based games, still play it. I don't care. Like, get over it. This game's really good.
I feel the same about
Um,
Clair Obscure, by the way. If you don't like turn-based games, I don't care. Play it anyways.
yeah, Metaphor is really good. If you like a complex story that makes you think, you're going to be so confused for like 20 hours and you're going to love it. So Metaphor is just really good and it tells a really good and complete story. Go play it. Go play it. Go play it. So now the top 3. I feel like we're going to talk a little bit about the top 3.
Yeah, the top 3 is where things get spicy because the number 3 did not expect IGN to be this based. But they're
Yeah.
right, and they're right to say it, and they're right to say it loudly.
Final Fantasy X takes the number 3 spot. That takes the bronze medal.
10
Now,
over
I'm
7 is crazy for a company like IGN. That's not crazy in general. It's just crazy for a publication this big to be saying it.
Yeah, and 7 isn't on this list. I think this, which is why we have the theory that it's only
Yeah, because
one per franchise.
clearly 7 should be here. There should
Like I
probably
would
be
probably
another
put
Final
7 at
Fantasy game
4.
on here as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you probably
Yeah,
have a couple Final Fantasy games on a list like this if you're not doing one per series, because Final Fantasy is just
but
too influential.
100%. And if you're doing one per series, it's pretty much or one per franchise. You're pretty much just doing 10 or 7. I feel like that's kind of the consensus for the best one. And it being 7, I don't. I'm on my own personal channel going to make a video talking about Final Fantasy X, and I've already kind of been working on that script. So I'm not going to get into too much of what I've talked about there. But guys, Final Fantasy X is the best Final Fantasy game, and it tells the best, most complete story, and it's just beautiful, guys. Final Fantasy X is fantastic. If you've never played it, again, with all of these, pretty much, if you've never played these and you're interested, play them.
Yeah,
Just go play
I can
them.
recommend every single game on this list except for Bravely Default 2, and that's just because I haven't played it. Like, that's the only
Yeah.
reason I can't even say it. And I played the first one, so you should, if it's anything like the first one, you should definitely play Bravely Default 2.
No, for sure. And Final Fantasy X is, I think, both of our second favorite games of all time.
It's either my number 1 or my number 2. It changes. The only
Yeah.
reason is that I have a different sort of connection to the other game that makes it a little bit higher. But it's either number 1 or
Yeah.
number 2. It depends on the day.
Final Fantasy X is my number 2, but again, my number 1's on this list, so I don't even care. But next up is our number 2, Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah,
And I think I would only change the number 1 and number 2 because I think the number 2, at least today, is one of the most influential games of all time.
I
And
agree.
like Persona 5 is gigantic. These people don't understand that like UI menus have been made
They're
better
not the same.
because of Persona 5.
Yeah. No menu or UI has been safe ever since Persona 5 dropped.
Like now menus have to be interesting. Like they can't just be pieces of text with information. They
I've
need to
been
be styled.
I've been hyping up Expedition 33 all stream, and I'm telling you right now that game took heavy inspiration from Persona 5 for its UI.
Yeah. Yeah, Persona 5 Royal is fantastic. No spoilers, but because we want to keep this as
Yeah,
spoiler
why
free as
would we?
possible
I'm like the Persona
entirely.
guy though, so just know that. Like
Yeah, just wait till what, December?
mm,
Yeah, so we absolutely love Persona 5 and Goro Akechi is my favorite character.
it's
And
true.
this is the only game that Goro Akechi is in. So, that is a
Well, kind of.
great reason to go play it. Kind of. Kind of.
Kind
Close
of.
enough.
Close enough.
Um
I
uh,
think it's crazy because Persona 5 that is Persona for most people, you know? Like the Persona series was pretty small up until this game. I mean, obviously, they had their moments where they broke into the mainstream, but those were like kind of moments. But like Persona 5 is like big and it's still big and it's seemingly not going anywhere. We for the longest time we all thought that like Persona 3 was the Persona series equivalent of like Final Fantasy 7, like that one game that just like is like the de facto best one to everybody. But then 5 came out and over the time it's proved me wrong. Like I think 5 is going to be that new standard that's been set, and then now that's the game to beat for not
mhm.
just the Persona series, but just for RPGs in general. Like I think most games are going to be compared to Persona 5 whether it be in its UI or presentation, in its music or whatever, but like just in its quality. Like I think Persona
I
5
mean,
has a genuine claim as potentially being the best RPG ever made.
and you those claims already get started with the in meme culture with the JoJo's references being like stands and all that stuff. But like the fact that it even has legs to stand on to be like, oh, like stands and personas are so similar.
Yeah.
And everyone just points to Persona 5 just goes to show how true that claim is. And like with metaphor being like, oh, this is just Persona 5 too. And like all this stuff,
It's kind of
which
the
it's
Skyrim
not.
effect, I think.
It is. It is. And it's Persona 5, especially Royal, is just such a good, fantastic game that
Yep.
like it's gonna just keep getting compared to stuff. Um you take the last one
Yeah.
because we want to keep this positive.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we've had discussions about this game. So IGN picked Chrono Trigger for the number one. I think incredibly based pick. Chrono Trigger is phenomenal. One of the single best games ever made. Period. And I think it's really powerful that like a publication like IGN would kind of put a game like this as their number one. And it's actually kind of crazy because I didn't know this before, but this is not the first time they've made this list. And Devin actually found the old list earlier when he was kind of pulling things up. It's not the first time that they've put Chrono Trigger at number one, so that's kind of crazy that like this is a whoever makes these lists specifically, he's got a favorite game, and
Yeah.
this person is not afraid to let it be known. But I think it's amazing because, like, first of all, like I said at the beginning, every single game on this list is somebody's favorite game. They picked such a wide variety of games to represent here, and it's amazing because RPGs truly are my favorite kind of game. I have so much history with most of the games on this list here, and Chrono Trigger is one of them. It really is. It's timeless, and I think that is something that is
And
so. Oh my god! I didn't even do that on purpose. I didn't even do
timeless.
that on purpose. Whoa, that was an accident. But I'm gonna no. I mean, just I planned that. That was
Pun intended.
expert level wordplay. Chrono Trigger though, it is genuinely timeless. For as old as that game is, it's funny that the best version of it is still the original SNES version. Like that's
It's 2 years older than
yeah,
you.
it's crazy. But Chrono Trigger, yeah, no, it's a special game, and I think there's just something really special about a game like that that maybe isn't as fondly remembered as other games on this list, or isn't as relevant in the current zeitgeist as some of the other games on this list. To be at number one is just that's special to me. That actually made me feel really good, and it deserves it, man. And I hope beyond hope that Chrono Trigger remake rumor is true because like a lot of other games on this list, it also deserves to be preserved and remade and given to a new audience to enjoy and experience.
No, for sure. So yeah, that's the whole list. You should put a link to this in the
I
description.
will, yeah.
You guys
I
can
will
take a
also
look at
put
it.
visuals for anybody who's watching this. I'll put visuals for them so they can see.
Yeah, so take a look at this. It's a really good list here. Very based. I think I would only change a couple of things. I would choose a different Pokemon game. I'd put Nocturne like 4 spots higher, and I would switch Persona 5 and Chrono Trigger. And this isn't
Yeah,
just personal. This is based off of what I think the fan like the general
yeah,
consensus like
like
me
the overall.
personally. Because obviously it was personal. I would put Kingdom Hearts 2 at number one, and then Final Fantasy 10 at number two, and the rest of the list would be irrelevant. Um, but no, so I would just do those couple changes, and then I think the list would be perfect.
Yeah, I would definitely move a couple things around. I think Kingdom Hearts should be higher. Nocturne should be higher. Um, some other things like I'd probably move Pokemon down and replace it with maybe either Emerald or Black, depending on my mood. I don't know because I feel like Pokemon probably should be in the top 10. But I don't know. I'd have to think about it a little bit, but I would probably move Pokemon around a little bit here. And then I would also probably swap one and two. I do think Persona 5 just that claim to fame that I mentioned before. I think it's pretty solid. So I would certainly kind of if you're asking me, current me right now, I would move that to number one. But everything on here, like everything on here deserves to be on here. And there's other games that like I would also want to maybe include. Like I think the biggest omission is Legend of Dragoon. That's like the one game on
Oh
here,
yeah,
or that's not on here that I was kind of hinting at earlier that like I think really really deserves a nod. I'd maybe even put it on here over like Breath of Fire. Like I think Legend of Dragoon is that good. So that's something that I would add. But honestly, I just never expected something like this to come out of IGN. Like, we kind of joke about IGN and stuff, and I don't like hate IGN. Like, I understand it's a publication ran by hundreds of different people all contributing. So like it's not, whenever somebody has kind of a bad take, right? Like, it's easy to kind of like blame the publication as a whole, but honestly that's just one guy's opinion. He's just the guy who got to publish that day. But when it comes to something like this, like, I don't know, it's special. I can't really put it into words. It's just something like this that highlights such a huge wide berth of the RPG landscape, does justice to so many classics that are maybe forgotten by a lot of people in modern day. And obviously IGN is a huge publication with tons of people who read it or watch their videos or whatever. And you can look on YouTube, their video on this has a ton of views. Their post here, that we're on their website, obviously got a lot of traffic. It's been talked about. Other podcasts, other YouTubers, other streamers, whatever, have been talking about this, and it's got a discussion going about some of these games that some people may have never heard of. It's actually putting it back into the limelight and getting people to talk about it again. And that's awesome because, like I said, every single game on this list is phenomenal and deserves your time and attention. It's just special to me. It's just special to me, and I love it. So I'm really happy that we got to not only have them talk about this and bring attention to it, but I'm glad we got to talk about this because I love talking about these games. Sure.
Yeah, these games they look, or they are all fantastic. They look great, sound great, play great. But let us know how you guys would personally change up this list.
Yeah, please.
If you guys would reorder this, if you would add games, remove games, just let us know down in the comment section down below. And like I said, we'll put the list there in the description so you guys can take a look at it yourselves. As well as we'll have the Discord and both of our own socials that's on Blue Sky on YouTube. Well, I guess you don't need Fizz's socials for YouTube because you're watching his channel. Subscribe.
Subscribe.
But yeah, go subscribe and subscribe to me. Why not?
Yeah. Well, if you're already subscribing to me, you should probably just go subscribe to him as well. So
like, I'll make a video eventually. I'll be a YouTuber eventually.
He might. He'll think about it.
Maybe. Who knows? Now my next video is gonna be on Final Fantasy X. So if you guys like Final Fantasy X after playing it from watching this video, then maybe I'll be done with it by the time you're done with the game.
It's about that time of the year. I actually need to start my Final Fantasy X playthrough again, so I will probably get on that sometime this week. But I've just been so engrossed in Clair Obscur that it's hard to pull away. So we'll see how that all goes. What I start next, but we all know I prefer replaying the same 10 games over and over again. So I'll probably get to Final Fantasy X sooner or later.
And if you want to replay a game too, also go play Battlefront 2, so we can get Battlefront 3.
Right, please, yeah. If you take anything away from this podcast, it's play Final Fantasy X, play Battlefront 2, and play Trails in the Sky. That's your takeaway.
Yeah, and then wait, we forgot also join the Discord.
Oh yes, also yes. Secret fourth thing is join the Discord, subscribe, like the video, do all the fun things that we want you to do, because that would make us happy, and you like making us happy. That's just your favorite thing to do.
And we do these podcasts live in the Discord. You can join us and watch as we film them, completely unedited and completely live. So you can hear all of the getting set up stuff and all that. So you could just join the Discord. It's the best way to support us.
All the fun, horrible things we say about you behind your back that we edit out.
Yeah. And then we obviously will be doing more and more stuff active in the Discord. We have more events planned. We have a lot of stuff going on.
So many events.
So many events just coming up soon. So many. But yeah, the big one coming out is our Nintendo Switch 2 launch event. So if you're interested in that, join the Discord before the Switch 2 comes out.
Big time.
I'll be there. I know Fizz will definitely be there. You can meet some of the other people, some of the other.
It'll be a good time. So. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was another successful episode 2. I'm excited to get into the swing of this and keep going. So make sure to stay tuned. We're keeping this going.